Hey everybody, welcome to another recap of The Amazing Race. Wasn't this a great episode? Last week, it was non-elimination for Michael and Kevin, so they're going to have to do a little speed bump. They were in Ghana. It was great that they had to help the school with the renovations. The people in Ghana were really grateful. It was good for the show to give back finally. I wish they would do that more often because it really made me feel good watching and, thinking that they made a little bit of a difference anyhow in that country. So they're headed to the Arctic Circle, 4,500 miles to Kiruna, Sweden. Wow, Sweden. They all got tickets on the same flight since there's limited availability. But they don't have to use them. So if they can get a better flight, good for them. So they're going to end up at an ice hotel. Looked really spectacular. Michael and Kevin decided that they were going to try and get better tickets. And they shared it with Gary and Mallory because they're father-daughter. And Kevin and Michael are father-son. So they feel a little affinity for them. They want to stick together. They tried to book the better flight and they got it. Also, Nat and Kat ended up sharing their information with Brook and Claire, and they also got on the earlier flight. The Princeton guys, they kind of realized something was up, and they tried to book it too, but it was too late. It was already full. So when they got to the ice hotel, they saw that it was actually stored in a warehouse, which was really kind of cool that they don't let it melt. They just keep reusing the same one over and over when the weather changes. The clue was etched in ice. I don't know if they were actually supposed to bring it with them. A lot of the teams did. The clue said go to the lodge. I'm not going to say what the name is because I'm going to massacre it. So Michael and Kevin, this was their speed bump time, which I really thought was pretty lame. It was sit on these ice chairs for 10 minutes. I guess it was more of just a time penalty as opposed to like a physical type challenge, although Kevin's butt kind of froze because he was wearing shorts and ankle socks. All right, so roadblock time. You got to mush some dogs, and along the track, you got to catch 5 flags, and if you don't get all 5 of the flags, you got to do a penalty lap for each one. When you get the flags, you just switch it for some pelts, and then you bring the pelts back to the beginning of the race, and you get your clue for the next leg. All right, so Mallory, it looked like, was the only one who got a penalty lap for missing the flags. How about those Fred Flintstone sleds, though? They were crazy. It looked like the Fred Flintstone cars without the roof on them. But weren't those dogs the coolest ever? One of them looked just like my first dog. It was like an all-white dog with darker ears. And what was up with the fake bear on the track? At first I was like, is that thing real? This looks kind of dangerous. And then I saw, oh, it's just fake. Jill and Thomas were majorly lost trying to get to the lodge. They ran a mile out of the way. So that really ate up a lot of their time. So the next leg, they need to drive to a train station, and it's a Detour, Sleds, or beds. In Sleds, they had to go to the top of the mountain via a lift and ride down these tech sleds that looked actually kind of weird because you were like on your knees. And they almost sounded like they were motorized at first, but I don't think they were. And it seemed kind of dangerous unless you knew what you were doing. And you had to finish the course in less than 1 minute and 58 seconds, which was a little difficult for some people. For beds, you had to go to this like native type encampment and build a teepee type tent. And, furnish it with a fire and some beds. It was kind of, their bed is like a pelt. So Michael and Kevin were the only ones that actually chose that first. And they did okay. It was a little rough start, but they finally got it. They got the hang of it. Jill and Thomas, they tried the other one first, but then they ended up switching to that one. But then they pretty much gave up right away when they saw it was a little bit difficult. And they used their express pass and went right to the finish. So Kat on the sled went off course, but she overcame. She didn't give up or anything. She just, put her nose to the grindstone and finished that task. Connor and Jonathan, however, they sucked. And that's an understatement. I'm being kind. I mean, especially Jonathan. He didn't know what the hell was going on. It was like, I'm going to go 2 feet, go off course. Go 2 feet, go off course. It was really bad. But then again, so did Stephanie, and Chad was totally pissed at her. So they all had to switch, along with Katie and Rachel, to the tent one. So let's talk about the pit stop. It's on the Norwegian border. Nat and Kat came in first, and they won a trip for 2 to Belize. Sounds delicious. Gary and Mallory came in second, followed by Brook and Claire, and then Michael and Kevin. I don't know what took them so long, but it would have been cool if they had gone from last place to first place, which is like a lot of the time what happens when there's a non-elimination leg. Jill and Thomas came in 5th because they used their express pass. Nick and Vicki were in 6th. Chad and Stephanie were in 7th. Now in 8th place, Katie and Rachel, they squeaked in, even though they had to redo their tent because it was not exact. And last place, unfortunately, Connor and Jonathan, who missed their college graduation that was supposed to be that day from Princeton, just to get eliminated on the race. You know what, guys? You probably didn't miss much because Kristen and I were just talking about her graduation from college, and she was just like, if I had it to do all over again, I probably would have missed it because it was overrated. I'm going to have to agree. Wasn't going to be a big deal. Next time, somebody has to, well, I think everybody has to eat an animal head, which is not cool since I'm a vegetarian. And the shopping hosts have some difficulties. Till next time, much love.